Hey, friends and neighbors, randomly trees coming at you. Today is November 30, a couple days after Thanksgiving, which means it's been a month since I've filmed my last video. And I think probably 2 weeks since I posted it. And up until last week, that was the last time I had even ridden. Went almost a month between rides. On Halloween I got the plague. Man, I was out for 10 days on my butt, out of work for most of it, and then for probably 2 weeks after that, and during it I couldn't hear. Like my left ear was completely plugged up and right ear started to get bad. That was concerning. Couldn't clear it up. Finally got some medicine to clear it up, but man. And during that time we had the serious weather system out here in the Pacific Northwest coastal areas. Look at those mountains. They called it the Bomb Cyclone, and some kind of polar thing. But there were no cyclones and there were no bombs. There was a lot of damage. Some areas hit worse than others. A lot of people without power for a long time. My house lost power for about just over 2 days. And that week was the first week I started riding again. So I was riding in bad weather, rain. It was rainy. You know, we only had the one day of really bad weather, but a lot of debris on the road and stuff like that. But I needed to free up the truck because my son my son took on a lot of the repairs around my house, which I was super thankful for. He stepped up and he was like, you know, we had some wind damage to our fence, and our chimney cap blew off, which was actually kind of minor, but he stepped up and took some time to get materials, and he and one of his friends worked on repairing the fence. And I really want to shout out to my son. Really proud of him for that. He is a hard worker, and he's a good guy. That took, you know, I was, after having missed work from being sick, I really was behind on some projects and stuff, and just having to be faced with taking more time off to make repairs around the house. It was like really kind of stressful, but I didn't even have to think about it. We found the damage later in the next day. Couldn't see it in the morning because it was so dark, but he saw the damage later that day. It was like, hey, I'm taking charge of this. Don't worry about it, Dad. I got it. And yeah, he sure did. So that was awesome. And since then I've been, let's see, I rode to work twice last week, short week, so I rode 2 of the 3 days I had to work, and it was cold and wet, let me tell you. And then of course I worked late, so I ride to work in the dark, and then I rode home in the dark, and it was in the 30s both days, and you know, high 30s, but it was still the 30s, and raining, pissing rain, and just got Yeah, it was a cold ride, but it was fun. Better than driving, for the most part. I don't mind riding in the cold, I don't mind riding in the rain, and I don't mind riding in the dark. But I do mind riding in the rain and dark. I don't like that. It's so hard to see. And you know, back in these areas, there's no lights, there's no street lights, for good or bad. But in the rain, your headlights reflect forward. They don't kind of reflect back to you, so it's really hard to. Everything just looks darker. And then you couple that with all the spattering on the lens of your helmet, and you know, I use Rain-X on the helmet, but in some of the misty kind of rain we get here, the way it beads up, it sticks. It doesn't roll off until you get the larger beads of water, and you get like this massive sunburst effect all over the place when you ride towards somebody else's headlights, and it's not pleasant. You know, I've done it for a decade now, but it's just, as I get older, the less I like that. It's just not, I don't feel confident, I don't feel very safe riding like that, so I try to avoid riding in the rain at night when I can. But when you commute to work on the bike, you don't always get to pick when you leave, necessarily. If you're in the line of work I'm in and trying to make up for time on stuff too, you stay a little bit late. And it gets dark here, like it's dark at 4:30, so, or dark enough. So by the time I get home, it's pretty black outside. But yeah, anyway, out for a ride today. It's Saturday. It's not raining. We had a good Thanksgiving. I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving, those in the US. Everybody else, it was just another Thursday, but in the US it was time to cook dinner, eat with family, spend time with family. And we don't have a huge family that comes over, but my wife has been hosting Thanksgiving at our house for a long time, and as usual, she knocks it out of the park. I mean, she does such a good job. It's used to be pretty stressful for her, but the past, I don't know how many years, she's just got this system down, and everything comes out on time, and she's just got everything in the order that she does it, and bing bang boom, everything's ready, and everything was just great as usual. And we had a nice time and spent time with my kids and my granddaughter, and my mom came over, and she got to spend time with my granddaughter, her great granddaughter, so that was a lot of fun. So today we're just out. I don't really have a destination in mind, but wanted to get out while it wasn't raining, and get the wheels under me for a little bit. My wife insisted, almost. She nudged me out the door because I talked about going, and sometimes when I'm in the middle of the day, like doing other stuff or not feeling quite up to it, and I kind of wasn't today, she gives me that little, hey, you really should go, you said you're gonna go, it's not raining, get out there and go. So here I am. And the reason I wasn't feeling up to it today is my hips and legs are hurting really bad today, really stiff, and it's kind of weird. The week of the big storm when I rode, you know, I've been going to physical therapy, doing all kinds of exercises and stretching, and trying to correct some of these issues with my hips. And that week I rode the bike, and I was like, oh my god, it's a huge difference. Like, I'm not sore at all. I can move. I can move on the bike. Like, I really have some I have a lot of pain, like when I try to shift my left leg, when I try to move it forward onto the brake, like that initial movement, there's a jolt of pain. And last week there was not. I could lift my leg up in the air off the peg without any pain and without any stiffness. And then this past week, when I first got on the bike, even this week, like I was like sore. Like the first ride, I think it was Tuesday morning, I was sore. I was stiff and sore, and I hadn't ridden in like 4 days, so it wasn't like I'd overdone it. And then Wednesday was even worse. Like it was a struggle. Now it was cold, but I can't really put it on the cold as being the reason. It was colder, but I don't know, that level of stiffness is as if I had ridden all day the previous day and overdid it. Like when I would have problems after riding the BMW for a few hours, and I hadn't had that problem in a long time, really, since getting rid of the BMW. And then also after having such a positive experience the week before, it was kind of like, whoa, what happened? So I don't know. And then Thanksgiving, I was like walking around kind of sore, you know. So I don't know if there was something just lingering, like with the cold, like it just stiffened me up, or if I overdid it with my exercises. I don't think so, but yeah, today yesterday I had physical therapy, and afterwards I was stiff and sore because we were doing some pretty strenuous exercises. So I'm chalking today up to that, because it feels like more of a muscle soreness and stiffness than like a joint stiffness, you know. So anyway, yeah, I was really positive last week, and then this week just kind of like, whoa, damn, maybe it was something else. Like I was on some medicine for my ears, and I'm wondering if that was enough of a dosage. It was, you know, a steroid, prednisone, which has some anti-inflammatory to it, and they gave me that for my ears, but obviously, you know, it doesn't just target the ear you're having problems in, and I'm wondering if that was enough, that it just dulled everything else, and that made everything feel better. But I was still on it. I took my last pill Monday night, so hey, buddy. So I would have thought that Tuesday I would have still been under the effects, Tuesday morning, but don't know. But hopefully continue on the road to recovery. I told my physical therapist about that, and yeah, we're gonna see how things go. The other thing is the poor bike needs a wash. She's been riding around in some hard rain and all that storm debris. See all the dirt in the middle of the road, all the pine needles and stuff? That was all over the roads a couple weeks ago, and still all over some roads. So I actually had a topic in mind. I usually don't have like a planned topic, but this was a topic that my friend Patrick over at Moto Ramblings was talking about, and I thought it was a very good topic. And his thumbnail was "What triggers you?" or something like that, or "What's your trigger?" And he was talking about what triggers your memories. And he had some, you know, some very good examples of the kind of things that trigger his memories when he's with different people, and the way you kind of start remembering things together. And one of his riding buddies does a journal while they're riding, and he writes down, you know, like the highlights of the day to go back and remember later. And then, you know, he said they sometimes they'll look at it together, and it'll bring up, you know, memories together, and they'll have a good laugh together about stuff. And pardon me. And you know, on my South Dakota trip this year, I took a journal. With that intent, because I wanted to. It takes me so long to get back to that footage, and it's just cool to remember the kind of things you thought about that day. But what I found was, at the end of the day, by the time I would, you know, my intent was I'd write before going to sleep at night. But at the end of the day, after riding 400 or 500 miles, especially on the way out there, and then, you know, while you're there, you're socializing with everybody, and you don't get back to your bed until, you know, 9:30, 10 o'clock, and you're pretty tired from riding that day, and just from being out socializing, or, you know, having a couple drinks or whatever together. And as I would lay in bed and start writing, I'd have a hard time staying awake to get all my thoughts down. And what I found was that I was writing like too much. Like I was writing like kind of a stream of consciousness kind of thing about the day. And I think I'll change up my approach, and do like Patrick's friend does, and just do like a bullet list of thoughts, and, you know, maybe capture a few things more in detail. But where possible, I'll just do a bullet list to review later. Traffic. Okay, let's turn in. So anyway, one of the things that I find triggers my thoughts or triggers my memories is other memories. And when I'm riding around, you know, when I'm not filming, most of my rides I don't have the camera on. I only film when I feel like it. But I ride a lot without it, and it's just, you know, I'll turn on music in the helmet, and I'll just ride, and, you know, just let my mind wander, you know. And everybody says, well, when you're riding a motorcycle, you're so focused on everything, and that's true, but your mind has a lot of bandwidth to do other things, you know. So in the background, you're processing stuff, you're thinking about stuff, you're by yourself, you're in the moment, you are focused. But that focus, it's almost like a meditation, and your mind just churns through things, and it just chews on things, and just you end up thinking about stuff. And, you know, you think about work, or you think about past stuff, or you think about relationships, or you think about your friends, or you wonder how somebody's doing, or, you know, stuff like that. It's just kind of in the background, and you're kind of conscious of it, but it's also kind of, it's background, you know what I mean? At least that's how it is for me. And you end up, at least I end up on, I'll go down these like rabbit holes in my brain, and I don't even realize it. I'm thinking about it, and stuff bubbles up to the front. You know, you realize you're thinking about something, and then something comes up, and you're like, man, how the heck did I think about that? How did I get on that topic in my brain? And then sometimes I'll backtrack to try to find the breadcrumbs back to where I started, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of times that's about when I start thinking about things from the past. You know, it could be a snippet of a song that was on in the radio, or it could be like a building I saw, or shit, even like the colors of the leaves and the way they blew across the road at a time. And I'll think back, and it's really fascinating the way the mind works. And for me, you know, to add to Patrick's topic a little bit, for me it's the memories themselves trigger other memories, I find, especially when I'm by myself. And I'll end up, you know, rethinking, you know, previous interactions, or I'll think about somebody that I knew in the past, you know, and just wonder, how are they doing? Or I'll think about a family member that I haven't seen or heard from in a while. Anyway, that might turn into something. Or, you know, I'm thinking about something about work and trying to figure out a problem, or a way to word something in documentation, or how to fix something, or how to approach a conversation that I need to have at work. And I'll just end up down this rabbit hole of, you know, maybe a similar situation in my memory where I dealt with something similar, and I can borrow from that. But I didn't even realize I needed to think about it, but my brain just kind of went there. And that's one of the things about the motorcycle that I like the most, is just the way it lets your mind, you're focused in a meditative way. Like you focus, but the rest of your mind is free to process things, and it's very cathartic. It's very therapeutic. And sometimes you don't want to think about anything, but your brain wants to. You know, you want to get on the bike and just go. And just be, and you end up solving things for yourself without even realizing it. So anyway, long rambling story today, but this will be a long video. I think these little ride and rambles, you know, I'm not going to cut them up too much. I'm not going to try to pare them down to a bunch of individual videos and get a whole bunch of different video content out of them. If I end up with a snippet that's, you know, worth standing on its own, I might. But it's hard enough for me to find time and motivation to sit down and edit videos, to then try to pare stuff down. You know, I end up cutting a lot of this stuff out, but I try to, for a long time I try to keep everything down to like 10 minutes, but who cares, you know, this is my channel. If you want to watch 10 minutes, watch 10 minutes. If you want to watch it in more parts, go ahead. If you don't want to watch, that's your prerogative too. This is my time, and a lot of this is for me. Pretty pupper dog. Alright, this will be an adventure. Turn left here. Oh, stiff legs. That was fun. Well, friends and neighbors, I think that's where we'll end it today, because I'm going to pull in the gas station, and I don't like to film while I'm doing that. So really thank you for watching, and everybody ride safe. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, those in the US, and everybody else, I hope you had a great Thursday. Yeah, stay safe. We've got more holidays coming up, so hopefully we'll still be able to get out here and ride as the weather continues to get cold. Other than that, we'll catch you on the next one. This is Randomly Trees. Have a good one. I'm going to turn things back on here. We're going to be crossing 1,000 miles on the Bonneville here in a moment. I think that means I can do my 1,000-mile review. I don't really do reviews, but yeah, maybe. Still don't have a name for her either, so I think this is, I need to come up with a name soon here. There we go, 1,000 miles. 1,000 miles, man. Doesn't seem like I've had her that long. I've had her a few months, but it doesn't seem like I've ridden that far.